What's it like buying a home using a VA loan? You're going to find out today because we have a guest today to talk about that. But not only from the agent side, we're also going to hear it from a client side. So we have a new format that we're going to do this time around. We're going to have both, not only the agent, but we're going to have the client as well and the buyer talk about what that experience was like and some of the things that they went through while they're doing that, or going through that process. So stick with us. But before I get into the guests, again, hit the subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, hit the hype button. I don't even know if there's a hype button, but please hit that. That helps us get more viewers and hopefully more people to share this knowledge. We want to make sure that everyone gets to hear what this process is like so that you're not going into it blind. I mean, who wants to go into anything blind? If you're on Apple or Spotify, go ahead and hit that as well. And then if you want to know more, go to windermereabode.com, go to our socials, go to all those things. I want to get that part out of the way. All right. Let's get to my guest. So my guest today, I have two people that are going to be on. One is an Abode and has been with us for 6 years. This Abode has been in real estate for 6 years and also is a social media influencer. You may know her, may have seen her around, but all those other kinds of things. So I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about herself as well. And then another guest that we have coming on, Bri, is from Southern California. Y'all know the song by Tony. This might be a different demographic, and so I won't embarrass myself and start singing the joint. But It Never Rains in Southern California is one of my favorite songs of all time. But this guest has also lived up here since 2024. So we've converted them from a Southern California native to a Pacific Northwesterner. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Bri and Sorelle. Welcome to the show, y'all.
Hi.
So, Sorelle, tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Yeah, so I grew up in this area. I grew up in Tacoma, Federal Way, and then for college, I went down to Southern California. Actually, I went to Chapman. I graduated with a business communication degree and came back to this area where I'm from. And I started out my career in marketing, and that's what I thought I wanted to do, but I wasn't loving it. And my dad is a commercial real estate broker and has been for years. So I decided to pivot to real estate. I very quickly realized that I wanted to do residential instead, just because I like the relationship aspect with people. Homes are obviously a lot more interesting and dynamic than like big empty warehouses, at least to me. So, yeah, I worked up in Seattle for the first about 4 years of my career. And then we have a daughter who's almost 3 in a couple months here. And so after having her, we realized we needed to be close to family for childcare and just so that they can spend more time with her. So we came back down and I've been at Windermere for 6 years, but at Abode for the last year. And
Yeah.
mom, realtor,
know.
I do social media, but
Yeah, I didn't know
yeah.
you had that marketing. I mean, it makes sense, obviously, but yeah, the marketing background that definitely helps with being in real
Yeah,
estate for sure.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, Bri, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm from Southern California. I went to school at FITM, which is the Fashion Institute of Design and
Oh,
Merchandising, and I got my degree in merchandising and marketing. And so I've been kind of in the social space for about 6 years as well. And my partner's in the military, which is why I'm currently here, but I got the choice to pick where we were moving next, and it was definitely Washington. So happy to be
yeah,
here.
that's what's
They
up.
have
Yeah, I
more
used to.
followers than me, by the way.
Yeah, no, I know. And FITM used to be like I used to push kids to FITM. We used to have them come and speak in our classroom all the time because I was a career and technical ed teacher. So like
Nice.
FITM was a whole thing. Like yeah, those were my folks.
Yeah, I love
And I know
FITM.
a
It's
couple
great.
people that went down there too. Yeah, very good school. Um, all right. So how did y'all meet? Did y'all just meet online, or how did you guys get connected?
I'm pretty sure I followed Sorelle early on, so maybe 2024, honestly, or maybe early
Okay.
2025, just because she was posting where to go get coffee in Tacoma, restaurants in Tacoma. I'm like, okay, this is my girl. I need to follow her.
hmm
Yeah.
That's what's
Yeah,
up.
she reached out to me, I think initially through my website, like the contact form, and just said like, "Hey, my partner and I are looking to buy a house in Tacoma. Can we chat?" And so we did schedule coffee. I think it was for like a couple months out because she reached out kind of around the holidays. We got
hmm
coffee on the books for January 2025, and we met with my mom as well since we worked together and
Yeah.
kind of all clicked right from the get-go, even though we hadn't met before. And from there, we scheduled more time to talk about the process and everything. But that first coffee meeting was when we met for the first time.
Oh, really? And so you just
hmm
know it, and it just kind of clicked from then. And what, like,
hmm
Bri, what made you start thinking about buying a home? Was it, did Sorelle's post just make you like say like, you know what, that's it, I'm buying a house right now, or
She
was it just
sold me.
something that happened in your life? She sold you.
It was a mixture of a lot of things. Being that my partner's in the military, obviously the VA home loan's very attractive. And so I was being asked to get a house in Texas. And I was just like, just not a place that I necessarily want to buy a house in, but I was there because he was stationed there. So when we moved out here, I quickly fell in love. And I'm like, the idea of getting a house felt better and better. And then early this year, I started consulting. I started my own consulting business. And so I think having that like financial flexibility kind of gave me more confidence in buying a home. So those are like the two dynamics that helped.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because I think like the reason why people move is different for everyone. But I mean, you know, this is interesting to hear what got people to that spot and to move. So, when you were looking at what's the like the thing that you like most about Washington? Like what attracted
Mm,
you up here after being?
That's a good question. SoCal, like they like to say, it doesn't rain that much. You have a season and a half, which growing up there, it's not that exciting. It's like it's Christmas and it's 85 and you're sweating. I never enjoyed it. I always loved the rain. So moving here and actually experiencing seasons was super exciting. I think the people have been really sweet. I just have much more community out here. I think LA is a great place, but it can be a little bit hard to like grow as a person in LA. It's just everyone's fighting for kind of like the same thing and it can get a little exhausting. So coming out here, I just developed a huge community, made so many friends so quickly, and I just have like a better appreciation for life, to be really honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorelle, did you before you met Bri, like was there eh, were you like targeting your marketing at people who were looking to move to certain areas at that time? Or like I'm just wondering like
think,
how.
yeah, I don't think necessarily like directly. I didn't have that plan necessarily, but I think naturally by sharing fun things to do in the area, whether it's like a new boutique or a fun restaurant or a coffee shop or like the best parks to visit, that kind of thing. And then also sharing home tours of homes that are available in different areas, kind of like brought some people to my page that hadn't previously followed me. When I worked up in Seattle, I actually used Instagram's feature, the guides feature, that they
uh,
got rid of a long time ago, but I would make neighborhood guides. And so
yeah.
I had like 15 of those on about all the different neighborhoods. And that was actually how a lot of my Seattle clients
Yeah.
found me. And so after moving down to Tacoma, I'm still sharing a lot of local content, but I haven't figured out how to do it in that kind of succinct way.
Yeah. Do they
So
still have guides? Like y'all, I'm gonna ask y'all.
no,
Y'all are the social media
they got rid of
experts.
it.
Oh, really?
They got rid
I
of
wonder
it. Yeah,
why.
so I'm contemplating doing like a Google Maps thing or Substack, or in the meantime, I'll still do kind of Instagram carousel posts, just sharing some fun local businesses and places to check out. But
Yeah. Interesting. I think I feel like guides was a good thing. I don't know. I just felt like that was a good thing. I don't know. Maybe not. Bri, maybe from
yeah,
your, maybe it's better for you, or maybe not. Maybe it wasn't
Yeah.
useful for you. I don't know. But what's y'all's favorite platform before we get to the buying process?
I feel
Instagram.
like it, yeah. I feel like it changes, honestly, just depending on the mood. I love YouTube. I'm a huge YouTube person, but some days it's TikTok, some days it's Instagram. I guess it depends on my algorithm for the day, to be honest with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like YouTube is like where I can slow down and like, I don't know. TikTok for me is just, it's a lot for this old. I
It is a
mean,
lot.
I can do it. I don't know. I got thoughts. I got hot takes. We can get into that later. We're here to talk about your process of buying the house.
We could do a whole
So
separate
I
podcast
know
on
that's
those
a whole
platforms.
different podcast.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like YouTube is underrated. Like I'll go ahead and say it. That's one of my hot takes. YouTube is underrated. It's been here the whole time. It's the OG. It never
Absolutely.
has changed. It's evolved. It's just I feel like it's always been the rock, and we just overlook it for other shiny objects, and then it's still here.
Yeah.
Anyway, So talk about like that first conversation, Sorelle. What were you trying to find out? What did you like? Walk us through like what that looked like, and then the whole process for you,
Hmm.
like going through that and getting Bri and her partner settled up here, or at least just looking.
Yeah. So anytime I have an initial meeting with a client, my primary goal is just to get to know them. Like, I just want to get to know each other. I want them to get to know me and get to know my mom. Now that we're working together more, I want to get to know them. What are their hobbies? What's their lifestyle like? What do they like to do? What's most important to them in a house? And get to know kind of like what are their biggest fears or questions, what are the hurdles that they could
Mm,
foresee or things that they're worried about, and then I just want to gather as much information as I can. So it's just a lot of like asking them a lot of questions. What's their timeline? What's their current situation if they're renting? When does their lease end? Like, we try to do a lot of listening and then asking questions, and oftentimes that'll lead to talking a little bit more about the process, diving into some of the more technicalities. But from there, I go into those meetings thinking, we're seeing if we're a good fit, right? Like, I'm not
mm,
going in there assuming that you're gonna hire me, and we need to make sure that it's a good fit going both ways. And so then if we do feel that way, I'll send, follow-up information. And then we do a meeting to kind of actually dive into the process and what it looks like. So that's like a home buying educational Zoom. And that's not for every buyer, but with first time buyers, I definitely do that every time. So I think we scheduled that. We waited a couple months to do that because they were very proactive. I really appreciate when buyers are this way. Bri and Jack, she reached out a year before their lease was ending. And so
wow.
we met in January, and then their lease was ending in October, right, Bri?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so we knew, okay, they found their realtor, they liked us, they wanted to work with us. We could kind of keep an eye on the market and keep an eye on homes that might be a good fit. We got them set up with a lender who works with VA loans, and he lives and works in the area, and he's awesome. So we connected them with him and said, this is your first step. Like, talk to him, see where you're at now so that you can get a feel for what your monthly payment might be. And then we kind of just followed up every few months. And then they really dove into the search in June. So it was like 6 months before we really started the
Mm.
search.
Wow. So Bri, like when you hear all that, like for us, like I can like when I hear that process, it's so familiar to me. What was something that was unfamiliar, like going into that meeting or that first one, what were some of the fears that you had about that process? And what was something after you sat down that you went in thinking you knew but didn't know at all? Is there anything like that just surprised you and you just were thrown off a little bit? Or is it all just kind of like, yep, I already know all this?
I think honestly everything is very new to me. I grew up in my parents' owned homes early on in my childhood, but after that we lived in apartments. So this whole process wasn't something I was really educated on. So every time we did get to speak, it was really just like digesting a lot of information. I think if anything, we got more excited about the process just because Sorelle was able to answer those questions of like those, I don't know, I couldn't really remember those specific questions, but there was a lot of little ones that Sorelle was able to like, okay, this is what we'll do. We'll pivot here. And so after having all of those responses, I felt more confident, honestly, in
Mm.
buying a house.
Yeah, I imagine that's probably what a lot of people feel going into that. I don't
Yeah,
know. Probably. Just a
yeah.
guess. So like in terms of the VA, like when you were going in, did you know much about the VA going into that first meeting?
All I knew was like no down payment. That was like the one line that I always got, and
Facts.
that was basically it. And so it was a lot of learning, but honestly, it was pretty seamless as far as the VA home loan goes. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's I guess was it something that y'all had planned on using because of the down payment piece, or was it just something that was like you wanted to buy a home first and then you just like, oh yeah, by the way, we could use this. Like,
I
did you
think it
plan
was
around the VA?
I think it was both. I don't think we would have bought a house if there wasn't for the VA home loan this early on. I think we probably would have waited a few more years, maybe when we felt more financially comfortable, even though we feel great now. But I think that VA home loan was like, this is our in to getting a house now. And everyone that we've talked to was always like, you better use that loan. So it was
Yes.
Yeah,
just from all angles, we were getting a lot of advice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like what was there a moment in the process you felt uncertain or frustrated, or and then what was happening and what what got that? How did it get worked out?
To be very transparent, I feel like every single step was a process, and I kind of got a little nervous each time because I was like, I don't think this is going to happen. Like every step was like a huge hurdle, specifically from the seller's end. It had nothing to do with our agents or anything. It was just the sellers. So every single time there was a hiccup, and it was really frustrating. It was really sad. I thought, like, I was telling Sorelle, I'm like, if this house doesn't work, I might have to take a break for a few months and we'll catch up later. Cause I was like, I can't do this for like a third time. So every aspect was a huge hurdle, but it all worked out.
Yeah. What about your side, Sorelle? What do you remember from that?
Yes, that was kind of my experience too. I mean, I think that in real estate, we're used to coming up against hurdles. So I feel like in every transaction, regardless, there's going to be something, right, that comes up. Like there's a buyer involved, a seller, there's timelines, and there's negotiations, things can get sticky. Like that's part of a big part of the job. And so I think in their case, there were a few more than the average. It was a difficult situation negotiating with the other side. So there were a few different like obstacles that we came up against, whether it was like through inspection and like getting our repair requests received. There were, a couple of different things that came up, but I think that the listing agent on the other side, at the end of the day, he wanted it to work out as well. And I think we found like a really good middle ground. And I mean, I can without going into like details on numbers, I can share a couple more like specifics.
Yeah,
and then
give us. Come on, this is
Absolutely.
like you can share whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah. So I think kind of the biggest thing with this one was it's a beautiful house on a big corner lot, like gorgeous property, gorgeous backyard, and lots of space to grow. But the house itself did need some love. So in the inspection, we just came up against quite a few things that we were concerned about. And so we did ask for quite a bit in our inspection response because we felt that it was fair. And then the seller they kind of wanted to stick it to us by rejecting all of our requests just out of the gate, rejected every single one. And so there was a lot of like back and forth that we had to do with, okay, well, what can we really do? Can we meet in the middle a little bit here? And we were able to do that, which I'm grateful for. And then another element that came up then was appraisal. And that's kind of, I think, a common misconception about VA loans is that like the appraisal process can be drawn out for weeks and they're late in getting their reports back and all of that. That wasn't our experience. I think that the process of getting the actual report was pretty smooth. Like there wasn't a big delay. We got it timely and everything. It did not delay closing, but it did come in a little bit low. So then that was another point where we did have to negotiate with the seller and say, hey, you got to come down on price. There's no comps to support this. So we just kept like coming up against these obstacles that there were moments where we're like, well, this might not work out. And we always have the mindset that like, if it doesn't, that's because it's not supposed to. And I do see that with clients where it's super disappointing in the moment, but it does work out how it's supposed to in the end. And then a lot of times at the end, they'll say like, oh, I'm glad we didn't get this house. So I think trusting the process was something that we all had to do. And they had to put a lot of trust in us to like negotiate for them firmly. There were just a lot of different dynamics.
Yeah. Like Bri, did you I know because everyone says trust the process all the time. Like even my loctician, like I'm on my lock journey and she's like, you just got to trust the process. I'm like, man, I'm not feeling the process right now. Was there any part of the process, like what were you thinking as you go through this negotiation phase? Like, were you crashing out or was it like, was Sorelle like help you like navigate that, or who is the fiery one? Because in every couple, there's someone that's gonna like be like, yeah, nah, and then there's someone like, oh, it's okay. Which one are you?
Oh, I was the fiery one. I was the one answering all the calls for the most part because my partner's in the military, so it was just really easy to get frustrated. But trust the process is the phrase, and now that I've come out of it, it all makes sense. But when you're in it, it's just like. It just feels like the days are like 48 hours long and like there's just like nothing you can do but wait. It was just, and also every time we needed to get a response, it led through the weekend. So we had extra days to sit and ponder things, which didn't help. So every weekend I was just filling up my schedule so I stayed busy so I didn't have to bug Sorelle or Lorene about anything. But again, trust the process is the phrase, and it's true, unfortunately.
Yeah, and she wants, I mean, I don't know, Sorelle, you might answer differently, but she probably wanted you to call her, just whatever. Or maybe it wasn't, I don't know. Y'all probably were on the phone a lot, I'm sure, during that time.
Oh, yeah,
Because this was
always.
from,
Always.
because y'all were at a distance, right? Were you, you were in Southern California while she was buying this, or did you like come up here? How did that work?
No, we were here the whole time, which helped. It was just, we
okay.
probably text them so many times throughout the days of just like, what's happening? What's an update? Can we try this? Let's negotiate this. But we're so grateful that they were so responsive.
I joked a few times that Bri should be a realtor because like we would come up against something and she'd be like, but did you tell him this? Like, did you explain that if he walks away, he's actually going to lose? And I'm like, yeah, we did. And like, I love that you're like ahead of one step ahead of us and like what you're saying. So,
all right. So where did those questions come from?
I
Be
used
real.
to my phone. Wait, what? What
Go
did you
ahead.
say?
Yeah. No, I was just going to ask Bri if like those questions came from ChatGPT or were they come from chat or was it just your own like?
It was coming from all angles. I was calling my dad, my grandpa. I had all the people that have bought houses in the past. Like every day I got an update, I would call them and be like, this is what's happening. You have any advice on what I should do? And they would help me pivot or come up with things. So it was honestly a big help to my family, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And you, like Sorelle, you were saying you're used to those questions?
Yeah, no, totally. And I think that like, obviously, you know, we're their realtors. Like our job is to give like advice and guidance and walk through like the pros and cons. And here's what happens if it goes this way. Here's what happens if it goes this way. Like here are the angles that we're using when we're negotiating. But a lot of times with first time buyers, like they want that extra peace of mind from family members who are like their trusted people. So I think that it's good that they had so many people to turn to ask questions. And then they come back to us and we'd be a sounding board and we'd say like, okay, well, yes, but then keep this in mind, which, you know, something more industry related that's like more nuanced. So I feel like it all worked out how it was supposed to in the end, even though it was bumpy ride. But I was going to say earlier, like I'm used, you know, we always want clients to call at any time with questions or text. And like, even if it's late or early in the morning, you know, I might be on do not disturb or focus as you call it, Dave, but I will get back to it as soon as I can.
Wow, that was
sitting in their discomfort.
Yeah, I get that. Like you can make stories up in your head.
Yeah,
I heard the subtle shot. I don't call it focusing. I was just calling it because that's what it says on the computer.
No, it literally does say focus. I know.
I was going to say D&D. But yeah, no. I think that's something that folks should. I'm glad you said that because folks need to hear that in terms of just like, you know, that time, and then people can get, you know, whatever, and that's what we're here to do is answer questions. So I appreciate you for that. So Bri, what did Sorelle do that you weren't expecting? Like something that you didn't know you needed until you were in it?
There's so many things. I mean, that could be its own podcast episode. I think one major aspect, which maybe you're not expecting to hear, but I think just the organization behind the scenes of just like weekly emails. On Monday, we get like a full breakdown. That's kind of how my brain works. I like want to see like what we've done, what we still need to do, what's upcoming, what do I need to focus on for the week. And I think that was a huge help when talking to other people who've purchased homes. Like they've had night and day experiences of just like barely any communication. Their agents don't really want to pick up a call or don't really care to answer a text. And so I just feel like we had the utmost communication, which is just, that's the way I like to roll. So that was just a huge help in just understanding our obstacles for like the next week.
That's big. And that's
I love that you appreciate that because like that's one of my favorite parts of the job is like the detailed emails, color coded, and Bri's responses. She would respond like within an hour and it would be like she would respond to every line item and like do red text or like she was very organized. So many clients just don't even respond to those. I'm like, oh my God, please read your emails.
Oh no.
Yeah. God, you appreciate it.
Y'all were talking the same language. It sounds like y'all were in the same boat. Like, yeah, you saw each other before. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's great.
I just want to let you know, I mean, if I'm really on my ish, I'm going to give you the red text thing or the, you know, but most times I'm just going to like, the color coding. We'll do that sometime. All right. So in terms of Sorelle, was there any parts of this transaction, or just not transaction, but the process of buying this home with a VA loan? Like, is there anything that you remember vividly at all? Like that was a hiccup that you might not have seen or anything like that?
No, I think the biggest thing to know is that, like, obviously the lender that you work with matters. And
Mm,
so, like, someone that you know and trust and that ideally works in the area, I think is big. So having our lender, um, George Lane, he was great. He was super helpful. He answered a ton of questions. He would run numbers for them on all the different properties they were interested in and stuff. But I think that's the biggest thing about VA loans is it essentially operates so, very similarly to a regular loan. There are things to keep in mind, different requirements that it needs to meet and that sort of thing. And, the appraisal might be a bit more in depth, but it's a great, great tool that anybody that has access to it should definitely utilize.
mhm.
And I think
Yeah.
coming down from Seattle was interesting to me. There's just naturally, there's not as many VA buyers up in Seattle because down here we're so close to the base that, listing agents are used to seeing VA loans quite a bit more. So just the perception there is
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah, I was literally gonna just say that. I was like, yeah, and it's a niche thing down here. Not niche, but it's something that we see more often down here, but probably not up there. You mentioned like saying that it matters that the lender's local. Why do you say that?
I just think it helps to have someone that has knowledge of the area. I mean, it's
Mm,
not it's not like a total must do or a deal breaker, but I think it's helpful to have them know like which area you're talking about, and I think it's
yeah,
beneficial.
yeah, and they've seen a lot in that area. Like, there's definitely some
Yeah, and they
nuanced
know
things
maybe
about.
certain areas or properties that are like seeing more low appraisals or that I don't
Yeah,
know, that
yeah.
kind of thing doesn't make a big difference, but I do think it can help.
I think it makes a big difference, like in terms of just knowing the lay of the land, and like what's
Yeah.
happening. He might have walked in a house before and seen it because goes out on. I know what George does. He goes out on tour and he visits
Yes.
people and stuff. So he's like literally inside houses. Like
Yeah.
someone that's maybe not in the state might not have that context, that
Yeah.
contextual knowledge.
Well,
So
and like thinking about the way that you're off, obviously it's always the buyer's decision, but I always want to let them know, like, do think about how your offer is going to be perceived on the other end, along with your pre-approval letter. If the listing agent is looking at a pre-approval letter from like a really big company or an online mortgage company or that kind of thing, it's maybe not going to
yeah,
be as well perceived as like a local lender or local company, maybe even a name that they recognize that they've
right,
worked with before, and it can really work in the buyer's favor to get their offer accepted. So maybe the offer is like under the listing price or it has an inspection contingency or things like that, but the listing agent has more assurance that it's going to be smooth because they trust the lender and they are able to get them on the phone. They're not like calling a call center and getting passed around anytime there's a question with the transaction, which in this case there were a couple times that we had to call.
yeah.
So
No, that's
yeah,
a pro tip. That's a pro tip
pro
for real.
tip.
Like, I think that that's a pro tip. Um, Bree, so what if there was someone that was on the fence for using the VA loan or just even buying a house, or like even just wasn't even sure? Like, there's someone maybe watching this right now that is like kind of trying to figure out if they should do it, if not, and they might have had a VA loan, who knows, or they have access to one. What would you tell them right now? Like, in terms of just what would you tell yourself at that moment in
Mhm.
time?
Honestly, just to start the process, like Sorelle telling us find a lender, get in contact with him. That was a huge portion of us starting to look for a house. And George was the literal perfect fit. Like he called us at least once a week about stuff and was just helping us so much in the process. So I think once you run numbers, you figure out what you can afford. Honestly, everything else after that's like, I'm not going to say seamless, but it's pretty self-explanatory with your agents. So I would just say start the process. If you're not starting it, it's kind of hard to just visualize what's going to happen next. But once we got like, information from Sorelle and George, I'm like, okay, I think we're in like a good spot to start this whole process.
Yeah. What about emotionally? Like, what should they get ready for? What should what would you say?
Well, I guess everyone's experience is different, but like maybe be prepared to be a little disappointed. Like be prepared to hear a no. We did put in an offer before this house and it was a no the same day we put in the offer. And so that was kind of like a little jump scare of like, okay, this is like the reality of looking for a house and you're competing with other people. I think once you kind of get emotions out of it, it can help a little bit more, but it's kind of hard to say don't be tied to the house you put an offer on because it is emotional experience. But if you can, it will help you a lot.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's huge. Is there any last things that, like, as we wrap up, is there anything else that we missed that you think that just came up, or maybe something you thought about during the process for either one of you?
I don't know. I would love to hear anything else from Bri about like your feedback for like the process itself, like the education piece. Like, was that helpful? Just, I don't know, anything from your side that you found like helpful or
Yeah, I mean, I want to continue giving you your flowers because I do think that the process was so seamless with you guys specifically outside of the hurdles that we had. Like we
okay.
talked to so many people over the past few weeks about our experience and like we did not have anything close to that. Our in-laws were like, our realtors hated us. They didn't really want to talk to us. They barely showed up for things. They did not communicate.
Oh.
They gave us the terrible lenders. Like they had a very polar opposite experience. And it was nice to be able to say like we didn't have any of that. Like I think we chose the perfect realtors. And I think that's why the whole experience went so well despite the hurdles. So I don't have any negative feedback. I only have positive feedback, to be honest.
Yeah, it's helpful. I want to can I plug your bingo event?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Come on, plug away.
So I just think it's just kind of fitting because Bri mentioned like community, moving here, she found community. But I think something really cool about her is she's like a creator of community. Like she brings people together. She loves bingo and she created a group called Hot Girls Play Bingo. Anybody can come at any time in Tacoma. She hosts events. Like, do you do it like once a month, typically once every other month?
Yeah,
At different venues. They've been most recently at Atelier, which is a great small venue space on St. Helens downtown. So she just brings all these girls together and there's like drinks and food and you play bingo, there's prizes, and it's like no one really knows each other unless you show up and you might see like a friend or run into someone. So she's really great at creating community, and it was really cool just how the timing worked out. And we actually moved up closing. So it wasn't our initial closing date, but we moved up closing and it was on the same day as her last bingo event. So like right down to the hour, we got the call that it was closed. And then my mom and I went to her bingo event and like brought her champagne and we're like,
That's fire.
Check her out on Instagram, Hot Girls Play Bingo. Come to the next
Hot
event.
Girls Play Bingo.
Thank you.
Is it .com or that's just the Instagram? That's like the handle.
That's just the Instagram. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't for me. I know it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like trying to go or nothing, but like,
Plug
I mean,
it.
maybe I would want. I mean, I want to. I mean, it'd be dope. Anyway, I'm just gonna stop talking. I'm just kind of
I'm
digging
going to be
myself
the
in a hole.
bingo caller. Maybe you could be the caller sometime.
Do y'all use the dots, like, or is it like you
Yeah.
use different? Yeah. Okay, so it's serious bingo. Like it's for real, for real.
Patterns and all.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So go check out. It's called Hot Girls Bingo. You said
Girls Play Bingo on Instagram.
Hot Girls Play Bingo on Instagram. Okay. So check her out. Before we get out of here, though, I have like 5 questions for both of you. Are you ready for this last segment?
5 questions. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right. And you just pick one or the other, and then we'll go from there. All right. You guys ready? Sidekick or Razr? Phone.
Razr.
Razr. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a
The
Razr.
hot pink one.
I
Ooh.
love the hot pink one.
I think it's. I think that's the GOAT phone. Like I think that's what got me into cell phones was the Razr. Like if that didn't exist,
So
I probably
skinny.
wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
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 So I had like one of them Nokia bar phones. I really didn't care about it. Like it was nasty.
It had the chocolate. Do you guys remember like the Verizon chocolate? Like the blue one that like split up. That's what I had.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not as cool as the Razr.
I feel like we're going back to that. Like I feel like we're gonna go away from this like touchscreen situation
I
and
think
like
so,
go
too.
back to old school phones. I don't know what's old
That
is
would be
new all the
nice.
time.
Yeah.
All right, Sweet Life or Hannah Montana?
Sweet Life.
I'm going to go Hannah Montana. I got to go Hannah Montana.
I do love Miley Cyrus. I do love her. But I think I liked watching Sweet Life more when I was a kid. And I used to play
Yeah.
Pizza Party Pickup.
I love
Very
that
niche.
game.
Did you play that? Yeah. Lane
Love
and I
that
and my
game.
sister, we would sit there for hours playing on the computer. Pizza Party Pickup.
Pizza Party Pickup. I'm not hip
Such
to
a good
that, I
game.
don't think.
It was just on DisneyChannel.com.
Oh,
Any like late millennials or like late millennials and early Gen Z will know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
okay.
Great.
Yeah, so so let's see. Sorry, I have cucumber melon or secret love spell from Victoria's Secret. Or Bath
Secret
and
Love
Body Works
Spell.
cucumber melon.
Secret love spell. Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what that one is. I do know what cucumber melon is though, so I would have just said that because that's the only one I know. I didn't.
I feel like
I didn't
love
walk
spell
in.
was like a popular fragrance, right?
Classic.
Like I do.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
All right. AIM away message or MySpace top 8?
I didn't use either. I don't think Bri did.
Oh, you
either.
I
didn't?
didn't use either, but I have
That's
I think
that's before y'all time.
MySpace was like just kind of at my time, but I wasn't allowed to have a MySpace. And then Facebook came around when I was like a freshman or sophomore in high school. So then, yeah.
Okay.
well, I think
All
MySpace
right.
is coming back though. Just saying.
You think? Yeah, that's-
Really?
I heard.
I think it's going to
I
come
heard.
back. Yeah. It's very
Yeah.
fitting for right now. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I used to like when
Y2K.
MySpace. Yeah, Y2K. When I was teaching, I used to teach like web design, and so that's how I'd get kids into my advanced web design class because they all had to take like digitals or whatever the freshman computer class was. And I would like I would like go onto MySpace and just say like, hey, I can teach y'all how to do a dope page, using HTML, and then like they'd get caught, and then they'd be like, oh, I want to do more. I was like, well,
Got them hooked.
you gotta sign up for the web design class. And that's how I got kids. Yeah, that's how I got people in my web
That
design
would have got
class.
me. I would have been in your class.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. And then I went to the district and I was like, hey, look, let's like do it. And I was like, hey, you need to teach MySpace. You need to teach all this stuff. Anyway, social media in general. That was way back. All right, last one. Uggs or Converse?
Ooh, that's hard.
Both. Yeah.
Yeah, can't choose one for each season. I don't know. Probably
I feel like
Converse.
these days,
You,
You can wear them more.
yeah, I do like Converse. I was gonna say Uggs because I slip them on like going to the store in the winter, like but Converse
Yeah.
take a little more time to put on. And with a toddler, I just like easy slip on.
Makes sense.
yeah. Can I
Yeah.
like give one small, like, this is why I have an appreciation for this era, because when I was coaching, it would be like a really hard game. It was a Friday night, and I would come back home and I would watch like Lizzie McGuire and like whatever was on whatever's not Nickelodeon, but well, I watch that too. But whatever's on the Disney Channel, like them, like Thundermans. I can go down the list. Victorious. Like I used to watch all of that because it was just happy. You know
you
what I mean?
weren't
Like
kidding when I went to Hillary Duff.
I'm not
and you were like,
joking
I'm
at
jealous.
all. Yeah, like I'm not joking at all. Like that used to be my ish. Like,
Yeah.
and it still is. I still like watching some of them, but it's just different because I'm not as tapped in. But like,
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of all of those, Hannah Montana, all of that. Like,
It's a good time.
yeah, I'd be like yelling and screaming, and we'd have an intense game on Friday night, and then I'd come home and I'd be tired, and I'd just go downstairs and then just turn that on because people were laughing. It just was joyful. I was like, yeah, I just needed it on in the background.
Nothing serious. Yeah.
Nothing serious. Yeah, it was really good. Just
Yeah,
stress
there's
relief.
nothing like that. Nothing like those shows anymore. I feel like.
I know. No, they don't. They don't make them like that no more. I mean, they do, but it's not the
They're
same.
still stressful though. There's always an element that you're like, I'm stressed out right now and I shouldn't be.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Lab
should
Rats
be
is dope. I
enjoying
think
it.
it's Lab Rats. Yeah, some of the new ones are cool. Like I think it was called Lab Rats. I'm not sure which one it was called, but I was watching. I was like, yeah, this is kind of, I vibe with that. Hey Jesse, is that one? That was one of them.
Yeah, that was
I mess with Jesse.
Jesse was good.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Anyway, thank y'all for coming on today, and I appreciate your time. How do people get in touch with you? First, Bri, I mean, we already talked about Hot Girls Play Bingo, but is that where you want people to find you? You guys got your 30 seconds of shine.
Hot Girls Play Bingo,
Promo.
and then my Instagram is my name, Brianna Minor.
Cool. Sorelle, how do they find you?
Instagram or my website. It's just Sorelle Okoli on everything. You can find me. Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, website, everything. I think Instagram's I'm probably most active, sharing
Okay.
fun local content.
Cool. And we will
Yeah.
link those below in the comments. So please, or in the caption. So please make sure that you go follow. And if you need to find out any more about any of these processes, I'm sure they'd be glad. Or if you want to go play bingo, hit up Bri. So yeah, with that, we'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. Bye.